This week on Channel 8 News, we see an overview of the season's news, sports, and community events, highlighting some of the best moments in the Northwest and Maryville community. Your Channel 8 News starts right now.
Thanks for tuning in to Channel 8 News, the show where we provide the latest news and sports coverage on the Northwest Missouri State University campus and in the Maryville community. I'm Tristyn Clark.
And I'm Alexis Kuhnert. Before we get into the highlights, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for all the latest news and updates.
Over the course of 6 weeks, Kirsten Stokes covered all aspects of the Northwest presidential search. After John Jasinski announced his departure, the Northwest Board of Regents searched for the next university president, landing on 4 potential candidates we saw earlier this semester. After about a month and a half of interviews and public forums, the Regents finally chose the next university president. Here's the recap.
Well, Bearcats, there's a new president in town. On March 2nd, Dr. Lance Tatum was selected to serve as the 11th president of the university. Over the last few weeks, I've met with presidential candidates over a series of interviews and public forums. Though the election has come to a close, we welcome Dr. Tatum to the Bearcat family, and we look forward to hearing from him as he's excited about his future at Northwest.
Hello, Bearcat Nation. I just wanted to take a second to tell you how excited I am about joining the Northwest family, and to also let you know that Jill and I are making preparations to join you on campus June 1st so that we can be ready to cheer on our faculty, our staff, and our students this fall. Go Bearcats!
As I interviewed Dr. Tatum, one of the biggest things that he wants to focus on at Northwest is being present and available to students on campus.
How do you plan on building relationships with students on campus and making sure that they know who you are?
Well, I think, you said something that was very important. That's presence. I think the president has to be present in both informal and informal types of roles, right? So there's a lot of work that gets done off campus in terms of trying to make sure that you're advocating for the university and that you're making the right connections for the university so that opportunities can be had. But I also think that on campus, you have to be more than just sitting in your office and working every day on the computer. You have to get out. And I love the idea of both formal and informal opportunities to engage. So the formal would be, banquets and award ceremonies and meetings and things where students are going to be present. But I think the other great part about being a university president is the potential to get out and just in a very casual way, talk to students and get to know them. So walking across campus or going to on-campus events or going to the dining center, going to places where students are located. And then I think there's you have to be approachable. If you can get out everywhere you want to be, and if nobody wants to come up and talk to you, that's the problem, right? So I think there has to be a warmness and there has to be a reason that students want to interact with you.
The Board of Regents unanimously selected Tatum as president and agreed to a 3-year contract after hearing from Northwest stakeholders and a search committee. Tatum will begin his time in office at Northwest June 1st. For the stories that matter to you, I'm Kirsten Stokes with Channel 8 News.
The current Senior Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs plans to focus on admissions, connecting with students, and building a trusted relationship with stakeholders in his first 100 days in office.
For more information about the presidential search this year, click on the links in the description below or watch past episodes of Channel 8 News on our YouTube page at KNWT TV.
Earlier this semester, I visited Moera, where I filmed Northwest Atlantic Hope. This high-intensity profession-based simulation is a disaster response and humanitarian crisis training in which students participate in search and rescue operations, injury assessments, evacuation, and communication. Here's what happened at the event. Northwest hosted Atlantic Hope, which is an organization that offers real-life emergency and medical situations through an active simulation of an overseas disaster hitting a small country who's about to go to war. I spoke with the role-play coordinator to learn more about Atlantic Hope.
I collect students and staff and faculty and members of the Maryville community to come in and play victims or sick people or displaced people that are put into training scenarios to help EDM majors, emergency disaster medicine, essentially figure out how to deal with a mass casualty kind of incident and deal with people that have very recently become homeless, like after an earthquake, as the scenario is sort of set out to be. So we took it on here in Missouri, and it's a little bit beyond an earthquake because it's an earthquake that takes place in a second world country that's sort of on the brink of civil war. So there's also political unrest and the need to cooperate with governments that aren't necessarily trusting of Westerners and things like that.
The simulation takes place over 4 days and occurs in 3 different locations. One training exercise is in a disaster field affected by an aftershock where victims have been injured. Trainees are sent to the site to rescue and evacuate the victims. Another training exercise is in the internally displaced people camp. Trainees help people who have lost their homes and give them access to cots and other necessary items. The last training exercise is a search and rescue where trainees look for injured people within buildings and fields. The volunteers received their character information on cards when they walked in, and I asked 2 of them about the characters they portrayed.
Basically, I'm a displaced person who has suffered from an earthquake, whose cities have suffered from an earthquake, and I have like cough, like contact sickness. So I'm just coughing and like have chest pain, chills, some stuff like that.
Yes, I am pregnant. I am totally fine until I go into labor, when all the chaos is happening, so I make it extra difficult for them, and then I'm going to give birth out on the field.
In order to prepare for the simulation, the moulage coordinators use makeup, clay, fake blood, and other elements to create various wounds for sprained ankles, hypothermia, cholera, gunshot wounds, and more to show the conditions of the victims. I asked the deputy moulage coordinator about the type of wounds he enjoyed making.
For me, like I said, it's impalements, because if you get it right, you can create something that is visually very effective with a little bit of shock effect, so that the person who's running through the exercise and being trained gets the effect of seeing somebody who's freshly injured. And an impalement can also be kind of messy, so it kind of adds that shock effect. So that's why I like doing it, because it's visually it's you know, when you get a volunteer role player, or you get that's got that injury, and when the first responder comes up to them and they have a kind of a visceral negative reaction, then as a moulage artist, I know I've done my job.
For those interested in emergency medicine, volunteering with Atlantic Hope provides an opportunity to experience its simulation. For the stories that matter to you, this has been Alexis Kuhnert of Channel 8 News.
When we return, we'll be kicking it over to Bearcat Update with Skyler Stamps. He'll look at some basketball highlights from this season. You're watching Channel 8 News on KNWT.
Unlike other organizations on and around campus, here, the students do it all.
KNWT is a student-run and student-produced television station.
To support this content, you can go to our YouTube channel at KNWT Channel 8.
And watch the latest shows, or even enjoy blasts from the past.
Welcome back to Bearcat Update, the show for all things Bearcat sports. I'm your host, Skyler Stamps. This season of Bearcat basketball has been full of ups and downs. Earlier this semester, the men's basketball team played what might have been their best game of the year. Here's the recap from the MIAA championship game versus the Central Oklahoma Broncos.
Bearcat Arena is packed for tonight's NCAA Division II matchup between the second-ranked Northwest Missouri State Bearcats and the 7th-ranked Central Oklahoma Broncos. A lot is on the line tonight. If the Bearcats win, they are the 2023 MIAA regular season champions for the 10th consecutive year. With a win, they would also be in contention to host the Central Region bracket for the NCAA tournament. If the Broncos win, Saturday's games become all important. Without further ado, let's crown a champion. Let's play basketball.
2,200 strong filled the stands and was the loudest they have been all year, with title implications on the line. This game did not disappoint. The Bearcats would strike first with Diego Bernard's dish to Daniel Abreu for the easy lay-in. The Bearcats would take a 6-point lead after a 3 by West Dreamer, but Preston Amond would answer with one of his own for the Broncos. With an 18-17 lead for the Bearcats, Mitch Mascari knocks down the triple and scores the next 8 points for Northwest. Even Northwest head football coach Rich Wright joined in on the action, cheering with the Bearcats and Blazers as the Bearcats took a 28-25 lead into halftime. Have yourself a game, West Dreamer. Dreamer would knock down back-to-back three-pointers to start the second half, totaling 5 three-pointers in the game. With 3 minutes left to play and the Bearcats up by 4, Bernard makes the off-balance pass to Mascari for 3. Less than a minute later, Mascari said, "Why not?" Bernard to Mascari in the corner once again for the triple and a 12-point lead with a minute 45 remaining on the clock. On the next possession and with a minute remaining, Diego Bernard gets the play of the game. He shakes off Jaden Wells and slams it down for the exclamation mark ending for the Bearcats. At the end of 40 minutes, the Bearcats defeated the Broncos 65-51, capturing their 10th consecutive regular season MIAA championship. The party had just begun as students rushed the floor and celebrated with the champions. Head coach Ben McCollum has created a dynasty at Northwest as he was presented the championship trophy by MIAA Commissioner Mike Racy. The Bearcats know the work isn't done yet. I overheard players saying, "This is only one, we've still got 2 more to get," referencing the MIAA tournament and the NCAA tournament trophies. The Bearcats will close out the regular season on Saturday for senior night and have the number 1 seed in the MIAA tournament next week. Congratulations, Bearcats. Moving forward in the season, the Bearcats hosted the NCAA Division II Central Region Tournament at Bearcat Arena. After defeating Southern Arkansas, the Bearcats faced Southern Nazarene in the semifinals. Here's the highlights from that game. The Northwest Missouri State men's basketball team has won the past 3 NCAA Division II national championship titles. The only thing standing between the Bearcats and a 4th straight title was the Central Region Tournament hosted by Northwest. The Bearcats were able to get past Southern Arkansas in the first round 94-69, setting up a matchup between the number 1 Bearcats and the 5th-seeded Crimson Storm from Southern Nazarene. Let's get into the highlights. This semifinal game was full of action. Both teams were struggling to find offense in the opening minutes, but Bennett Sturtz would lay it in to get the Bearcats on the board. On the next possession, Sturtz would drive and kick out to the corner for Daniel Abreu, where he buried the 3. The Bearcats extended their lead 22-14 before a quick 2 from Mo Wilson and this triple from Tyler McGuy to cut the lead to 3. With 38 seconds before half, Luke Waters nails the 3 for the Bearcats, where they took a 32-25 lead into the half. The Bearcats and Crimson Storm traded buckets throughout the first 10 minutes of the second half before the Bearcats saw their lead disappear. Javon Jackson drills the 3 from the top of the key to take the lead 44-42. Fast forward to the end of the game, 41 seconds remaining and the Bearcats down 3. Bennett Sturtz would shot fake, drive, and kick out to West Dreamer, who ties the game with a 3 at 57 apiece. With 14 seconds remaining, still tied at 57, Jackson would knock down the go-ahead basket for the Crimson Storm to silence Bearcat Arena. Diego Bernard would get fouled with a chance to tie the game at the line with 5 seconds remaining in the game. Bernard would miss the front end of the 1-and-1, forcing the Bearcats to foul. On the inbound after the foul, West Dreamer tips the ball, gets possession, and ties up the game with a bucket. But the official said when he dribbled, it was on the baseline, erasing the basket for the Bearcats. The Bearcat coaching staff and bench were not happy with what they thought could have been a 5-second call. On the next inbound, keep an eye on number 22 Jackson and Diego Bernard for the Bearcats. Coach McCollum and crew thought an offensive foul was missed there as well. Southern Nazarene would convert on 2 free throws, extending their lead to 4 as West Reamer's 3-point attempt at the buzzer was short, and the Crimson Storm pull off the shocking upset over the Bearcats 61-57. The Bearcats ended their season with a 31-3 overall record while winning the regular season and tournament championship in the MIAA. The Bearcats say goodbye to seniors Diego Bernard and Luke Waters. Thank you for everything you have done as a Bearcat. Congratulations on another successful basketball season. That's all the time we have for Bearcat Update. Be sure to tune in next time to stay connected to all things Bearcat sports. I'd also like to thank you for tuning in this entire semester and supporting KNWT. When we come back, we'll look at some event highlights. You're watching Channel 8 News on KNWT.
Welcome back to Channel 8 News.
Hey guys, we're filming behind the scenes for Creative Services. Come check it out. Here with Creative Services, our job is to promote KNWT, give you an in-depth look at our crew members, and shoot behind the scenes of all your favorite shows.
This is KNWT.
And we are
Creative Services.
Hey guys, make sure to go check out the Gen 2 highlight episode where we go over all the best moments from this past season.
And you are not going to want to miss it. Also, make sure to subscribe to the KNWT YouTube page for the new season starts next September.
Welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Tristyn Clark.
And I'm Alexis Kuhnert.
This semester, Northwest hosted multiple events in regards to mental health. I covered an art exhibit on campus that reduces the stigmas around mental health. Here's what you missed at the I Will Listen event. Mental health is a hot topic in today's community, especially the stigmas of mental health. In 2022, over 75% of college students struggle with psychological distress, whether that meant depression, anxiety, or other issues. The stigmas presented with mental health typically take over people's minds rather than the actual facts. People with depression are scary. Depression is dangerous. These are both very common stigmas that go along with depression. Mental health isn't just for those who struggle with it, it is for everyone. On Wednesday, Active Minds, the Behavioral Science Association, held the I Will Listen event aimed on reducing the stigmas on mental health with an art exhibit. During the event, there was a short yoga session held, as well as other exercise events students could participate in. Along with the art and the sessions held, people who attended also learned coping mechanisms through various speakers like Professor Brenda Rourke.
And another thing that I found was really helpful with that, because a lot of times you sit down with a journal and you're like, well, what am I supposed to write? Like that I'm anxious? Like, okay, I'm anxious. Like, now what? Or like, I feel depressed today.
There was also merchandise you could purchase, including t-shirts, pins, and a green bandana, which is a part of the bandana project, meaning anyone with one is a safe person to talk to. One speaker, Aiden McMahon, spoke on a few topics like depression and anxiety through poems, which drew people's attention.
I am afraid of living. Mom, I am lonely. I think I learned it when Dad left, how to turn anger into lonely, the lonely into busy. So when I tell you I've been super busy lately, I mean I've been falling asleep watching SportsCenter on the couch to avoid confronting the empty side of my bed. But my depression always drags me back to my bed, until the bones are the forgotten fossils of a skeleton-sunken city, my mouth a boneyard of teeth broken from biting on themselves.
After the event, I spoke with McMahon about her favorite part about the poems.
So I'm a person that struggles with anxiety and depression and OCD, and so I think finding these poems and kind of finding meaning between both the original author and how I wanted to read them was probably my favorite part of reading them.
I also spoke with the advisor of the Behavioral Science Association, Elizabeth Dimmitt, about why this event was so important to execute.
This event is not only a national movement by NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness, but it's an opportunity to start a conversation at Northwest for our students, for our faculty, for the community at large. We have artists displaying their work from all over Nottoway County and beyond, and to be able to really see the power behind people's feelings through their art when sometimes words are not enough. It's an opportunity for us to to learn more, to reduce some of that stigma about all of us having stuff in our lives and how we navigate that. And it's about learning ways to cope with those.
Mental health is a topic that is hard to talk about, so this event was impactful to many people who attended. The stigmas around mental health can be destroyed with the help of everyone in the community. It's okay to talk about mental health. For the stories that matter to you, this is Tristynn Clark with Channel 8 News. In other Northwest events, Career Services threw a not-so-typical party where students could learn how to make a great first impression and network and build relationships in a professional mixer setting. Riley Westphahl reported on this event.
Wednesday, February 22nd, Career Services held a mocktail party in the Student Union to help instruct Northwest students on how to engage in a professional mixer. The event allowed students to practice their communication skills and learn proper etiquette while attending a networking function. I asked Jill Brown, speaker at the event, why this kind of experience is beneficial for students who will soon be entering into their careers.
So the purpose of this type of event is to help just put people at ease when they find themselves having to attend networking functions, or maybe it's they're applying for their first job and they say, hey, why don't you come first to the office and meet and greet and visit with the people. And so the point of this is to learn how to do introductions, how to put those nerves at ease, and then also what happens when they start to give you, food and drinks and so forth, and how do you balance all that and still make a good first impression. So how this is going to work is that we will do a presentation and just kind of go over some key facts, and then we actually have snacks and drinks here. That way students can truly practice like actually holding a container of Chex Mix and still trying to engage with somebody without, spilling either item on anybody. I think it's a good opportunity because even if you think, oh, I'm never going to have one of those situations, you're going to have one of those situations. And so many people, honestly, when they get there and they see them, I see it all the time where people are like, oh, I'll just go home. That looks like too much. And they shouldn't, because it's a great opportunity to mix and mingle. So it's wonderful that this is an opportunity available. That way they can try and practice and not feel, like I said, quite so nervous.
I also spoke with a Northwest student who attended the event to understand more about what can be learned from a mock professional mixer like this.
I think it's a good experience just because it helps you learn another professional side to having parties. So we worked on our handshakes, and then we are talking to new people. So just learning how to communicate and be social around people we don't know.
Career Services will be holding career pathing events like this throughout the spring to give Northwest students a better understanding of how to navigate the professional world. For stories that matter to you, this has been Riley Westphahl with Channel 8 News.
Well, that's all the time we have for this season of Channel 8 News. Be sure to click on the links below for more information about these events and to rewatch our past episodes.
We also want to hear from you, so leave a comment below on your favorite stories from this season, and be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for all the latest news and updates, as well as our other content on our YouTube page at KNWT TV.
Before we conclude this episode, we would like to say thank you to those who continue to watch and support our show and this channel.
And be sure to watch some of our bloopers in just a few moments. For the stories that matter to you, this has been Channel 8 News. Thanks for watching.
Give me a beat, Alexis. This week on Channel 8 News.
He'll look at some basketball highlights.
Before we get into this week's...
By attending those professional development opportunities, students can
and hit that notification. I was trying to be a YouTuber, like nice and cute, but I just need to keep it simple.
Click on those two videos on the right to watch some of our other content as well as our past episodes.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell, and follow us on all of our platforms.